A trip to Cabo that led to conspiracy that ended up in cover up in a foreign country? My question is, what happened from the time she was dealt the final blow until the help arrived, doctor, nurse, and then the police arrived? And who's gonna pay for all this? I'm in Allen RX, and that's what's coming up next. The autopsy report says she expired 15 minutes after she was dealt the final blow. According to the police report, this was a several hour deal before she actually expired. Took an hour for the doctor to get there. So, in that gap, in that time span, whether 15 minutes, whether an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, what happened? Where were all the players in this game? Where were the Cobble Six? One of them was supposedly on their way there. They hadn't arrived yet. The others, what were they doing? Who was the mastermind that said, let's put some clothes on her? We've all seen the video. She's hit. She's down. What happens? Do they start screaming? Dejanay, is she panicking? Is Winter panicking? Are they into it with each other saying, oh my God, Dejanay, you did this. No, Winter, it was you. Was there any infighting that went on? Sound like some I know what you did last summer. Who's checking her pulse? Who's checking for signs of life? At some point, they had to figure out she's no longer with us. Did anybody at any point say, y'all, we need to call the police. We need to do something about this. This is our friend. We came on a trip with her. Did anybody ever come up with that bright idea? And if they did, and they called the doctor, they called the police, they showed up, came up with the whole cover-up deal. Because the resort, they don't want their reputation ruined. Put her up here, take her out of this room. Let's say she was drinking. Whose idea was that? Was it the Cobble Six or was it the Mexico Four? Because now it's all kind of looking like it's a little bit cloudy. It's not as clear cut as it seemed before. Finally, after an hour, the doctor arrives on the scene. First thing she should do when the doctor arrives on the scene is check the scene for safety. These people told you over the phone, or they told the concierge that this girl had alcohol poisoning. Whatever the case may be, walking into a situation like that, you need to check the scene for safety. Safety for yourself, because you don't know what's going on out here in this villa, out here on this resort, and to kind of see what has caused the person, Shanquella Robinson in this case, to be in this state of cardiac arrest or whatever the case may be. You were called saying that the person had alcohol poisoning, but you still prepare for everything when you go out there. Check the scene for safety. Was she drowning in a pool? Was she choking? And in this case, you may have to do Heimlich maneuver versus CPR. What has caused this person to be in cardiac arrest? And in this case, the causative agents are right over there. The culprits, they're right over there. They're watching the situation, watching what's going on. He, she, them, they, all of them, plural, singular. Whoever the person was, they're right over there. So this scene technically is not a safe scene, but you decide as the doctor decides to go ahead and proceed. After that, you check the person for signs of life or for consciousness. You start tapping on the chest, tapping on the shoulders. Hello? Are you here? Are you with us? You have to do that just to see if what's going on, to determine if you need to start CPR. The next thing, if there's nothing, you get no response, call 911. Activate emergency response. Designate a person to call 911. You, what's your name? Khalil? Call 911, Khalil. You, what's your name? Winter? Call 911. If you don't designate a specific person and point them out and call their name, you, call 911, you. Because then it's going to be all kinds of confusion, and we don't need any type of misunderstandings in a situation like this, especially when a life is on the line. Every second counts. So you designate a person to call 911 so they're not standing around. Well, I thought you were going to call. She was talking to you. We know exactly who's supposed to be calling 911. And if they don't do it, then, we'll deal with that further on down the road. So you activate emergency response. Then you decide you're going to go ahead and start CPR. When the person goes into cardiac arrest, there's no blood flow, there's no oxygen, not going to the brain, not going to any other parts of the body. After 3 to 5 minutes, the longer you go without any oxygen, fresh oxygen pumping through your body, then that's you're dying. Essentially, you're dying. The body's dying. The vessel, the person is dying. That's what would happen in a normal situation. But this situation isn't normal. Whenever the doctor arrives on the scene, the doctor did, I think I remember reading or hearing that the doctor did say, we need to treat her at a hospital. But the friends, they said, no, you gotta take care of her here. That is so strange because you have a doctor here that you called out here, that drove an hour to get here. They are here. They say that this person needs to go to the hospital. Y'all say, don't take her. It makes no sense to me. Like, why is the doctor listening to y'all? And who are y'all to think y'all could tell it? Which makes me think that she could have already been gone at that point, if that's what, however that happened, or the ultimate goal was for her to end in fatality. Because originally I was thinking that, oh, they did conspire to set her up, to bully her, to beat her up really bad, to take her money, to rob her. But if she was conscious when the doctor arrived and they somehow prevented this doctor from providing care to her or making a recommendation like this girl needs to go to the hospital, then they did want her gone. But doctors don't, they don't, I guess with money, with Mexico, with this whole situation, it's just nothing is adding up. And math is not math. Anyway, if she did decide to do, if according to the police records, they did perform 14 rounds of CPR, there's no way that this one person did 14 rounds of CPR on their own, because they didn't activate emergency response. But at some point, the Red Cross is there, some police maybe, or government officials, I don't know when they got there, but it's not making sense. Did they call them or not? So if this doctor is there performing CPR, and evidently it takes an hour to get from the city to the resort or wherever they're at. So they have an hour. She's going 14 rounds. And I don't know how many of you have ever had to perform CPR, but I just did my recertification again, and I think I'm in pretty decent shape. I'm not like, ready for the Olympics or anything, but I do all right. And by that second round of doing compressions 2 inches deep, 30 chest compressions, that will wear anybody out. So for this person, for this doctor, and without the team or activating the emergency response right away, to have to do 14 rounds of CPR, it's a lot. It's a lot on one person. And even if it was another person, how long did it take them to get there? That's the next thing too. So in the meantime, you've been doing them an hour. Let's say everybody lives an hour away. That's just unrealistic. Maybe they could, but I'm telling you, after the second, third round, I'm like, somebody tag me out. The 14 rounds of CPR, 5 doses of adrenaline, epinephrine. Adrenaline, epinephrine are the same thing. Like any of you who have any allergies or who have kids who have allergies, you're allergic to bees, bee stings, wasp stings, you're allergic to shrimp, but you keep eating them, you have an EpiPen on site, when your throat starts closing up, you develop a rash. That's the same thing. So they gave her 5. It took 3 hours for them to determine that, okay, let's go ahead and call it. It just doesn't make sense. 3 hours versus 15 minutes. It's not even close. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and pronounce her. And then what? They leave because according to the reports, she was found by the maid. They were at a whole nother hotel. And how did the last person of the Cobble Six, how did they know where to go? Did he get there that night or that morning? I can't remember. But when did they move to the other hotel? How did this person know where to go? Her body was left at the original villa. Is this making sense to anybody? Like, so many different stories. It's so many different conflicts. Who's really responsible for Shanquella Robinson's death? We'll just keep watching, guys, as the story unfolds. It's going to take a while, I guess, for all the moving parts to kind of come together, to put the pieces of the puzzle together. We're dealing with an international situation right now. The people are American. The murder happened in Mexico. It was a cover-up. Did they conspire here? So many questions that need answers, guys. Anyway, I got to get back to work. Y'all know these prescriptions, they keep piling up, and these phones, they never stop ringing. I'll see y'all in the next video.